This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Hey, gets a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, it's another beautiful Friday here in Oakland, California, as we'll be getting you ready for A's and the Astros. Game 2 of the 4-game set coming your way up here at 640. You just changed me right out of the gate, Cody.
Well, it's because you're in the red.
Yeah, well, turn me up somehow. Figure it out. I just went like dead. There we go. We have a great show for you here on a Friday. Our buddy Jeff Blum from the Astros, but you know him more importantly as the World Series hero from the University of California, Berkeley. That's right, played for Cal, took Cal to the World Series. He's going to join the College World Series and is a World Series hero with the Chicago White Sox. He's going to be here at 4:15. Zach Geloff, our first one-on-one ever with Zach Geloff. We've had Geloff by phone. We've had him by video. We've never had him in person. He is going to join us today here in the Treehouse. No, that's Cody, not Zach Geloff. Later, that will be Zach Geloff right there. Off to an interesting start. We're starting to see the struggles with the young guys as adjustments are immediately made, and they've made the adjustments against these guys. We'll talk to Zach Geloff about that, but so far, so good. Like what I've seen. He's got size. He's got athleticism. He's got the ability to drive the ball. We've seen him with that power to right center, which everybody talked about. He's also been able to pull the ball. Zach Geloff here at the Treehouse. Once the gates are open, it's happy hour. You got to come see us. You got deals on food. You got deals on drinks. The deals on drinks are more important. We're going to have bingo for you, giving away prizes.
The retro, because it's Italian Heritage Night. This is the retro.
Is it
from
Italian Heritage Night tonight?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. Yes.
Italian Heritage Night tonight here at the ballpark. Eno Saris, our baseball columnist, national baseball columnist from The Athletic, will be. Is he going to be
here?
In here. He'll be here.
Yep.
At 5 o'clock, and then of course it's a Friday. We have already sat down with the manager of the Oakland Athletics, who was either more interested in us or the opening day of the horse races down in San Diego at Del Mar, where the surf meets the turf. If you had to say, what was he more interested in? Was it doing the interview with me or the very first race of the day?
I mean, I'm going to selfishly say it was us, but I can't. It was.
Or
was the race.
it the trifecta of the first race down in Del Mar today? Racing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the race.
It had been a while since I heard a horse racing call. Live on the phone, we got to watch races from Del Mar with the manager of your Oakland Athletics. But we will talk to Mark Kotze coming up here at 5 o'clock. This is a day that's always special for us on this show because you know how much we love baseball. You know how much we love the history of the game. And this is the weekend where we truly celebrate the history of baseball. And when you think of the history of baseball, you cannot tell the history of baseball without talking about the Oakland Athletics. Without talking about the Philadelphia Athletics, I think we can kind of sneak by without mentioning Kansas City. But, of course, they are part of this organization's history. But Philadelphia to Kansas City to Oakland as its Hall of Fame weekend. Behind us up here, you're going to see MLB Network is on, and they have all their shows in Cooperstown. I'm just going to tell you, someone who's been there 3 times, and I've been, because of my grandfather having stuff there, I've been able to go down into the bowels. It's great. The curators, they're like doctors. They have lab coats on. They got rubber gloves, and they'll break because they have the bat and ball for my grandfather's 2000th hit, and they got some of his jerseys and stuff, and they bring them out to you. I was actually there. What year was that? Mark McGuire bat had just shown up. I mean, anything that happens in our game, they put the sticker on it, authenticate it, and poof, a lot of it goes off to Cooperstown. And that's the one thing about when you go there, you're going to go through a timeline of the history of baseball. And they have all these artifacts that are just incredible. And they constantly change. So you don't know exactly what you're going to see when you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. I remember one of the times I went there and I was just looking at, they had a bunch of the Yankees guys' wives, because back in the old days, and my grandmother had them too from All-Star games and the World Series that my grandfather played in. We have them. They're charm bracelets. And they used to give away charms for World Series, All-Star games, whatever, and you'd see these charm bracelets of like Mickey Mantle's wife. I mean, it was incredible. Whitey Ford's wife, and Cy Young's license plate, right? It's C. Was he 511 wins? It was C. His license plate was C 511 Y. I mean, they have stuff. It's just not baseballs and bats and gloves. They have stuff that nobody else has. It's one of the great things about the Baseball Hall of Fame. Another thing that I love about the Baseball Hall of Fame is you go upstairs and they have every single championship ring. And you get to see how the ring changes throughout the years, how small, before at first they didn't give out rings, they gave out watches. And then it gets to rings, and the rings are real small, and you get to gradually see the rings get bigger, but you get to see all the designs of all the different championship rings. It's that kind of stuff. Plus, when you go on the weekend like this, the ceremonies, it's free to the public. So when you're watching those players give the speeches, in the very front, you'll have the family, friends, and media. But behind that, everybody out on the grass, that's free. You can go. You could be there this week and this Sunday for Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff. It's free to the public. So it's not like all those people bought seats. No, it is free. And Hall of Fame weekend is incredible because Cooperstown, New York is such a small little town with one main street that runs through it. It's all baseball. There's little inns and bed and breakfast. It's awesome. And the Hall of Famers literally are walking around. I tell the story all the time. In 1999, I was coming up a hill and coming around a sharp turn corner. I literally bumped into Tom Seaver.
You were telling Jay Jaffe this yesterday, right?
Yeah, I ran into Tom Seaver. And you're like, holy, it's Tom Seaver. And then he just keeps walking. He said hello, and I said hello, and he kept walking by. And you're like, and my brother was behind me, and my brother goes, that was Tom Seaver. And I'm like, yeah. Pete Rose always shacks up at the – so the hall's on one end of that street that I'm talking about, the one main street that runs through Cooperstown. I don't know if he's still doing it at his age now because Pete's got to be –
He's 80, right?
82, 81, something like that.
Let's find out since I have my phone here. Blummer said he didn't see the intern yet, so he's still waiting. Marcus walked over.
I mean, what are these guys doing? Playing the grid? They got to do more than just play the grid.
Pete Rose, 82.
He's 82. So we went down and actually saw Pete, got his autograph. There was 4 of us, and we actually got to talk to Pete Rose. He was super cool. But that's the thing. I actually got to – he's no longer with us, but we sat outside the Baseball Hall of Fame the night before when they brought trolleys. Each Hall of Famer they would bring up with their families, and they would get out and wave to the fans, and they'd go into that famous dinner. Well, Stan Musial got out and played the harmonica for the crowd. And then Stan would always play the harmonica at that dinner, and he'd also play it at the bar at the what the hell is it called? Olaswaga or whatever it's called, the inn right there that's on the golf course. That's right on the – it's like a little mini Lake Tahoe, and it's the – look at the inn, what it's called. And it's right there on the lake, and there's a golf course there. But, yeah, I got to see Stan Musial play the harmonica, and he's no longer with us. He was famous for that. But you get to see all of this stuff when you go on Hall of Fame weekend. I've seen Ricky Henderson there.
My favorite thing about Stan Musial is the same number of hits on the road as he did had at home.
Call it consistency.
Yeah, he was a very good hitter. Pride of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Stan Musial, truly one of the greats. But if you ever get a chance, I say go at any time. Anytime. A lot of people are now going because just outside of Cooperstown, they built the baseball fields where you have a lot of the people are taking their little league teams and you're taking teams out there to play. And a lot of families are getting to go do these baseball tournaments, and then they go into town and go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm sure our next guest has some things that are in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'd put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm sure he's got to be in the Cal Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm letting our intern know that he really messed up because Blummer's here.
Blummer came without the Blummer doesn't need an intern.
He needs the escort.
I mean, he's an East Bay legend. Come on. Great Jeff Blum joins us. You don't need some intern to get you around here. You're like royalty around here.
I've got like a baseball clock. If I'm 5 minutes too early, it's too late.
Oh, yeah. If you're not early, you're late.
No, and I love the Treehouse, by the way. I've been here a couple of times.
It's awesome.
And we filmed a couple of things up here, like for our open. I love this place.
So years ago.
Can you tell I'm out of breath?
Huh?
I'm out of breath.
What happened to you?
What's wrong
You
with
were
me?
a primetime athlete back in the day. Middle infielder.
That was years ago.
I mean, the pride of Cal playing in the College World
don't
Series.
tell anybody, huh?
You can't even walk over to the Treehouse.
I'm exposed.
This was back when they built Mount Davis. This was just a generic bar for Raider games.
Okay.
And then when the Raiders decided to leave, we decided, let's make an area. And before COVID, I always did the pregame show right here where we are now.
No kidding.
I did it every single game, and fans would come up, and it was every game. And then COVID closed everything down, and now we've kind of reopened it back up. And this is where we do happy hour.
It's outstanding.
I mean,
good call.
If you weren't on the air, I'd buy you a drink or two or three.
Why did being on it? Well, on air may stop you. Just saying.
Load them up. It's going to be a fun Astros broadcast tonight. Hey, reading in my notes, and I keep thinking to myself, it is hard to believe that I'm looking at where the Astros are only 4 games back, and Altuve and Yordan Alvarez have not even played really with each other all year long.
Is that not amazing? 13 games they've played total together. What's unfortunate about that number is 6 of those 13 times have been against the Oakland A's, oddly enough. And that was something that we pulled out the other day, but it is kind of crazy. And I don't know, are you more surprised that the Rangers haven't taken off like they have, or are you as surprised to see the Astros still in contention, even though they don't have those guys?
I'm more surprised they're only 4 games out, knowing how good Texas has been.
Mm-hmm.
We saw France yesterday. He was fabulous, knowing that he came up for Urquidy.
Yeah.
And I started looking at the names. These are big-time names that have been out. Obviously, the World Baseball Classic and the injury there to Altuve. Mm-hmm. You had a lot of guys in the Baseball Classic. I think we all know it's awesome for our game. It's super exciting, but guys are tired by the midseason after they've gotten early ready. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but
well, we all you talk about the A's injuries. I talk about the Astros injuries. We just got done in Colorado. Bud Black's talking about their injuries, and I don't know if it's because it's a WBC season, but if you look across the league, there are a lot of teams that have been beat up, and it feels like the teams that are playing well are the ones who are actually able to stay healthy. And I know the Rangers lost to Grom. They probably would have been a little bit better with him, but they've been relatively healthy as far as their starting rotation is concerned. They need a little bit on the back end of their bullpen, just picking up a Aroldis Chapman, but I don't know how much faith you can have in Will Smith, and Josh Sporer is kind of getting exposed here a little bit lately. But it does feel like some of those injuries are mounting up. And one guy that we don't talk about, or at least maybe we haven't talked about, Lance McCullers Jr. has been on the shelf for the entire season and will be well into next season. So the fact that this pitching staff with J.P. France, Brandon Bielak, Ronel Blanco, there's other guys in there that have been mixed in, but they've been able to just be serviceable. J.P. France has been fantastic on the road. I think a minimum of 70 innings. He's got a 2.0 something ERA, lowest in Major League Baseball. So you need those guys to kind of overachieve or be able to place themselves in that rotation until Urquidy can come back or until they go make that trade to go get a starter. But when they get the offense back, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Here is my question for everybody, as obviously we're one of the sellers, and I talked to David Force, our general manager, about this because our players are not the players you want with your A selection, your B selection. We're more in the C or D, so I think even though Fuji just got traded to Baltimore, I really do think last day when you've lost out, now I'm calling the A's because I need to make some type of deal. That's when I think our players are going to go. But we can all sit here. Red Sox are just in town.
Mhm.
You guys are now in town. I mean, we're going to have the Giants coming up, and everybody's going to say, well, if we add this, where are you going to go get these guys? Because there's not that many sellers, and the sellers, if you're not Chicago, if you're not St. Louis, I don't know where the Padres going to become. There's not a lot of players who have teams to sell you.
Yeah, and that's why you keep hearing names like Marcus Stroman and Cody Bellinger in
Cubs
Chicago.
are another one, yeah.
But one name that I keep hearing with the Astros is Michael Lorenzen, who's dealing right now. His trade value is probably skyrocketing at this moment because he's pitching so well. But I think the idea for the Astros is it's going to be pitching. Because if you're getting a Yordan Alvarez back, if you're getting a Jose Altuve back, you look pretty good as far as offense. If you're making quote unquote acquisitions and you're getting them from within, you don't have to make a move for them, and they're healthy. Your offense is going to get substantially better. But how do you protect your bullpen, and how do you extend your rotation a little bit? You got to go out and find a guy like Michael Lorenzen. I know Brady Singer, another Kansas City Royal guy that keeps being talked about. His numbers aren't that great, but it feels like he's got the stuff that you can kind of maybe coach up a little bit and make him good for your rotation. That's another name that's out there, but it's going to be very interesting, especially for the Houston Astros. If you haven't paid attention to prospect lists or the top 100 that we keep hearing on MLB Pipeline, the Astros don't have any guys in that top 100, so to speak. You've got the Corey Lees, a catcher in AAA, has got big league time. You keep hearing Chaz McCormick, Jake Myers, some of these big league talent. But as far as getting deep into the system, it's going to be hard to go out and find a package to put together to be able to get back what you actually need. That's what I find interesting.
I hear Lorenzen and Singer. That's not as sexy as Verlander and Cole.
No.
You guys
Frankie,
used to go get the hottest model on the runway.
Yep. Those were the days.
Right?
Those were the days.
I mean, you had me at Verlander, Lorenzen. We know Lorenzen.
I know you've been around a while, but there were those 2 years when we picked up, in 2017, you're going, okay, this team's pretty good. Then we got on a flight coming back, I think, from Seattle. We were actually in Tampa playing because of Hurricane Harvey, and we were coming back and we're like, man, everybody keeps talking about Justin Verlander, the Astros. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
And you start hitting, everybody go, man, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Can you imagine calling one of his games? And sure enough, we land the plane and we've got Cameron Maybin and Justin Verlander coming over, and we were just like, holy crap, it's going to happen. And they started to play really good baseball. We got to call one of his no-hitters, and then Garrett Cole, we get to call some of his games. And, you talk about having a blast. It's just sit back, enjoy, watch what these guys are able to do. But I think those days are gone in this organization.
It's a different ballgame when Verlander gets on the plane, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you want to turn some heads. You go into some ballparks, early on, 15, 16, 17, and you're like, oh, hey, Altuve, Bregman. Carlos Correa and George Springer, they're kind of big guys and they garner some attention. But when you put an ace like that in a rotation and he steps off the plane or walks into a ballpark, all of a sudden everybody kind of straightens up and looks over and goes, oh, damn, here they come. And maybe I don't know if that guy's out there this year.
The one thing, though, that is good for baseball, and it's, getting the two Texas teams in the American League, getting them good at the same time, can kind of mean something, because we know that we're not that far away, that you're going to wake up in the morning and the Dallas Morning News and it's Cowboys, back page, high school football, back page, Rangers.
You ain't lying.
So if the Rangers are not relevant by the time training camp hits, no one even cares. But and even Houston's huge in football, Texas A&M, you got the Texans, University of Houston's been good in football. So all of a sudden I start TCU. You start thinking about it like baseball in Texas. Is this the year we're finally going to see Rangers, Astros? It means something. And now the rivalry is on.
Yeah. And, moving from California to Texas, now trying to absorb everything that you're talking about, because on the outside looking in, you're like, okay, they love football, big deal. But they've got the Astros. They've got good baseball teams. They've got pretty good basketball teams in both of those arenas. And then you got San Antonio Spurs, and you're like, there's other stuff going on. But you're exactly right. As soon as that calendar turns and you get into training camps and you start looking forward to football season, all of a sudden you get dwarfed. You kind of get pushed out a little bit. Fortunately for us down in Houston, the Texans have been awful.
Yeah.
And they have been an organization that's just kind of run amok a little bit. So all the focus has kind of shifted to the Astros in good and bad ways. but they've been winning, so they've kind of stolen a lot of the thunder of the football season. But if you can have 2 winning teams, if you can have a division leader and a wild card coming out of the West in Texas, I think that'd be huge for the state of Texas. And all of a sudden, you do get a lot more eyes, and you can kind of push those other teams back on the back burner a little bit.
Okay, you hear about it, and I know they had Friday Night Lights, but, when you live in California, you go, is it really that true? It wasn't until I started traveling with the Raiders, and you start going around, and I remember when we played the Texans, that was a few years ago, like high school football pushes everything to the side. Like, it doesn't matter. High school football is the same thing in Florida, anywhere in the Southeast. High school football is king. It's hard to believe, but it is king.
This is going to sound terrible, especially considering the stadium situation that the Oakland A's are in and this community, because we moved out to Texas and we live in a community, a suburb of Texas called Katy, and they were in the process of building a new district stadium, and they had to pass a bill that would raise $70 million. It passed on the first vote. It wasn't even like, oh, let's think about it. Where are we going to get this money? Are people really going to be involved? Dude, it was like, where do I sign? These people signed up, and now there's a $70 million stadium with suites, a club level, season tickets for Katy ISD. So that gives you an idea of what football means.
Who's playing there?
Well, I think there's either 10 or 12 Katy ISD teams right now, and they rotate who gets to play there every Friday. So,
so the high school area,
they will all get to go play at that stadium.
That's
badass. They have a big screen. They have like a jumbotron. And I mean, games are streaming. I can watch a game on my phone if I wanted to, but they will show instant replays of great catches or great plays up on the big screen in the middle of a high school football game.
So the game of the week in Katy, Texas.
Oh man,
you're playing in this $70 million stadium.
Oh yeah, and they have the LEDs on the outside.
$70 million. They voted for it, and they got it. That's not asking everybody else and grants. That's $70 million from the taxpayers for high school football.
Yeah, go for it. And
wow.
I mean, the LEDs are on the outside, so it'll light up your team, your school colors.
What can you get in there?
I think there's about 15,000, 20,000. Yeah.
That takes me back to my high school football days. I'd love that.
Could you imagine playing with that kind of energy?
And it's on television too.
Oh yeah. And like you said, there's sideline reporters. I know our network. I think we're still called the AT&T Sportsnet, but I think they have sideline reporters. They're covering this, and they have a weekly show, a magazine show every week about high school football.
Not to get it too much into the business of baseball, but baseball has taken over the Padres. They're taking over the Diamondbacks. I just heard from Ryan Spielborgs that AT&T Sportsnet will no longer do the Rockies after this season.
Yeah, we were just up there, heard the same.
What's good? Are you guys? Do you know?
I mean, but you don't know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have an idea. There's all kinds of rumors going around. We're going to be in a pretty good situation, I think, because we don't have several different organizations that we've got to try and pull together. It's just us and the Rockets are the only two on AT&T Sportsnet. And I know that the way that things are starting to shake out a little bit, it looks like it would be beneficial, not short term, but long term for the Astros to buy the network and run it themselves. It's just, the logistical nightmare of trying to transfer all that over. But the content, how do you fill that much content? Because maybe their idea is to fill 24/7 Rockets, Astros. I don't know what that is. But at the same time, the one thing I think that makes it appealing is that carriage rights for that network or whoever carries Astros Rockets is good through 2035. And that's why I say long term, you might be able to sign that contract, kind of find your way in the next 2 or 3 years, and then really start to create content because your coverage is going to be out there for the next 9 years.
Well, it's one of the reasons why we've told everybody why streaming and A's Cast, and we're already starting to see with the streaming and the San Diego Padres, they have a much bigger audience than they've ever had. So it's like, this is, as much as we love our cable friends at NBC, and I like working over at NBC, but I mean, this really is the future of how you're going to watch.
It's funny you say that because of A's Cast. I don't know how many other teams are doing it around the league, if any. But when I go to other places and they know I've been on this, they ask me all about it. I mean, obviously I know a little bit, but I know that what you guys are doing is being watched, maybe as an example of what could possibly be.
Did you ever think on the road people would ask you about A's Cast?
I mean, about you, no. About the A's, maybe. I'm
A's
just
cast,
kidding, dude.
though. A's
Cast.
cast.
Yeah, but I mean but isn't that how it works? Isn't that how
Yeah.
it functions? Is trying to get ahead of that curve a little bit. And you're in a tough situation here. You've got a team in flux. How do you create content and how do you create energy around a team to get eyes on you? Put up an iPad, put up a webcam and see what you can do, because you're putting together great content. You're able to go out and get great guests. I know that you're getting Eno Saris later on. You're getting Mark Kotze. I mean, there's some people that you actually want to tune in and listen to. Eno's one of those guys. If you're watching baseball, you need to be reading what he's writing. You need to be talking to him, because he does a very good job of trying to break down baseball and give a little more information than maybe you or I could give.
Yeah, we don't go into it all the time, but our downloads are so significant it blows attendance away.
That's outstanding.
It's like,
but you
and
got to
we
provide
thank all
that.
of you. We
Well,
thank all of you.
It's kind of similar to that model down in Tampa Bay. You know, they don't draw at their ballpark. Nobody's going down to the Trop to watch a game. It's terrible. But what do? They watch their television broadcasts, and their broadcast numbers, their ratings are off the charts.
Yeah, their TV
because
ratings
they do
are good.
like here. Everybody loves the A's, but maybe they don't want to come to this ballpark. But that's why they're tuning into you guys to get more info and really stay in touch.
When you think about your run with Chicago winning the World Series, sometimes adding doesn't always help.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it can mess with the whatever you got, because baseball people don't want to talk about chemistry. But whatever
that's
it is,
noise. I've heard the technical term is noise.
Whatever you got in the clubhouse that's working, but just take us through, like, these are the dog days, right? We're looking at the map. We're looking at the weather every day. We got weathermen going, oh my God, it's so hot. Like it's hot. You're playing in Chicago. It's humid.
Smoking.
It's like these are the dog days of summer right here. Just talk about this stretch and what adding means to a club like the White Sox back in the day when you guys were going for the World Series.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And you talk about the dog days, and that's part of the reason I went to Chicago, is because I had experience playing against Ozzie Guillen. He was my third base coach in Montreal, which a lot of people didn't know when Jeff Torborg took over for Felipe Alou.
That's going back.
That's going way back. That's 2000, 2001.
Montreal, best city ever to play in.
If that got back in the rotation, I would not be upset.
Yeah, everybody goes, forget Vegas.
I was going to,
Montreal
that's the French
the
version of Vegas, and I'll just leave it at that. A little European vacation, if you know what I mean. So I had experience with Ozzie Guillen, and they had Joe Creedy, whose back was ailing him a little bit. They had Paul Konerko was maybe a little bit older, and his back was ailing. So that's what you're talking about. You get into the middle of August, things start to heat up. You're exhausted. You're pushing for a pennant, and you need guys that are going to come in there and be able to provide relief and really not, just kind of be a Band-Aid on the situation, not be like a sharp drop-off where you've got to bring up a guy from A-ball, Double-A, and put him at first base to protect Paul Konerko. You can go around the league and pluck some of these parts. You know what, Jace Peterson or some of these guys, Aledmus Diaz for years with us was that guy that we were able to plug in at second base, shortstop, in relief of Altuve and Correa, Bregman, and just give them a couple days of a breather to get them to a chance to reboot a little bit and get their legs back under them. And that's kind of the situation I found myself in Chicago. But it's up to the organizations, too. They've got to realize, do you want to make that big splash? Are you going to be willing to just make a minor trade to go out there and kind of give yourself some depth? And fortunately, that's what the White Sox did. And I had the experience with Ozzie Guillen. And probably one of the best compliments I ever got paid my entire career was from Ozzie Guillen when he said, there's a DVD that doesn't bleep it out. But he said, nobody got excited when we traded for Blum, but we knew we were bringing a guy into our clubhouse that wasn't going to mess it up. And that was a big thing for them. And that goes to what you're talking about. The analytics can pump out all kinds of numbers. But the second you start talking about chemistry, how's Townie going to get along with Cody and all this kind of stuff, all of a sudden that becomes noise because you can't input it into a computer. But that's why you got to have guys like Ozzie Guillen, Mark Kotze, and some of these other guys around here that really say, you know what? He's a good dude. He's not going to mess up my clubhouse, and he's going to help us win.
So are you telling me when you showed up in Chicago, you didn't throw your bags in the middle of the room and go, the magnitude of me?
Yeah.
You didn't go Reggie Jackson?
No, gosh, no. No, I can't do that. No, that's not my personality. I did not want that attention.
The straw that stirs the drink, baby.
Well, how about
Southside style?
I go from a San Diego Padre media market where everything's, sunshine and
it's
shorts.
The San Diego Union Tribune.
Yay, here we come. Jeff, you had a great game. You went 1 for 4. I'm like, what? So I get to Chicago and I get traded. I actually met the team in Baltimore, so there wasn't much media there. But when I got to Chicago, there were 50 guys around my locker when I showed up, and I'm going, what do you – yeah, I'm here. Great. You know what? what?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it was a good time.
Let's end on this because Fred McGriff, it's funny. Fred McGriff couldn't even sniff the writer's ballot. And
Why?
now all of a sudden he's a Hall of Famer and everybody's like, oh, yeah, of course he should have been.
Right.
And all these numbers are coming up where you're comparing him against Bonds before Bonds was on the juice and he was either equal or better. And now everybody's like, yeah, of course Fred should be in. Makes me think of Paul Konerko.
Dude, yes,
right?
absolutely.
Paul Konerko,
look those numbers up.
A clean, because, I'm looking at A-Rod, Manny, some of these guys.
Yeah.
Take the clean guys because
Have the conversation.
We're having appreciation for McGriff as a clean guy. Yep. You played with old Paulie.
PK.
Don't you think that's a good one to bring up? Like, let's look at Paul Konerko through the lens of a non-PED guy.
I heard a number, and it was Paul Konerko. I mean, his overall career numbers garner the thought that he could get into the Hall of Fame. But I think I want to say it's 13 years of averaging 30-plus home runs and 90-plus RBIs. Think about 13 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. And
Not 7 years. They want that 7 years, 13
exactly.
years.
Yeah, who's that? Jay Jaffe window right there? That's
we had
7
him on
years.
yesterday.
Yeah. But he's done a great job. I think that, some of those numbers are fun, but then you start to really – and if that's looking at the traditional numbers. You're not even digging into OPSs or WRC pluses, but that guy was an absolute beast. And if it wasn't for Jermaine Dye, Paul Konerko would have been the World Series MVP. He had some big swings.
Yeah, I
like it.
I think maybe McGriff is going to help us get over the PED era a little bit. Now we can really start looking at it because you played against Scott Rowland.
Oh, I played against Scott Rowland. I was a teammate of Fred McGriff his last year with Tampa Bay. I got to play with PK and be around these guys. And I would love to see some of these contemporaries start to get in there. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I do feel like with the game changing as much as it is, the closer role, the amount of innings that starters are pitching, the idea of what do wins mean anymore. I think that the evaluation of getting into the Hall of Fame is changing considerably. And when you start to look at it that way, the Scott Rowlands get in, the Fred McGriffs get in easy. I don't know what took Larry Walker so damn long to get in there.
Todd Helton.
Todd. And don't give me this Colorado stuff, man. That dude could flat hit. And you look at what they did, and they dominated at times. And who was the biggest threat in a lot of those lineups? Those guys should be in the Hall of Fame.
Do wins even matter anymore? Like any kind of win? Do you even want to win now?
Yeah, I mean,
why do we even play?
Right, but that's the problem. Is that I was talking to Justin Verlander, and he said he enjoys the win. He means that I pitched well enough to win. I want the win. And that's kind of how your street cred, more or less, is going out there and getting W's. He knows he has to rely on bullpens to go out there and get those W's. But if he leaves the game with the W and he has a chance for the win, he wants that W. And I can't blame those guys for getting it. It's just more numbers.
And we always want to remind everybody, yes, he's a Houston Astro broadcaster, but he is a Cal Bear legend. Cal Bears took Cal Bears.
I can see the Campanile from right back here in the treehouse. Are you
took
kidding
him
me?
to the College World Series. Are you in the Cal Hall of Fame?
No.
Is there a Cal Baseball Hall of Fame?
No, but you know what? It's funny you asked that because I think it was 2 years ago. I got a call from Cheese. John Hughes? He used to be a pitching coach at Cal. Now he was a scout with the Montreal Expos. He actually drafted me in 1994, but he still works with the Alumni Association over there with Mike New and trying to recognize some of the guys that played there. And I don't know if you remember, but the rec center, the RSF out there in left field has that big, huge wall behind the left field wall.
Oh, yeah, you can mountain climb off of it.
We would take batting practice and just start aiming for them. They didn't like that, but, but it was good for your power numbers. But they had huge murals and tarps out there of guys in the past, and they kind of tore it down, and they're going to restart the whole situation. And I got a phone call from John Hughes and the baseball alumni committee out there, and they said that they wanted to add me to it. And I amazingly and humbly said I would love to be a part of that because, they already had our names out there for, donations or, Cal big leaguers in the past and stuff like that. But now to be on a wall with, the Connor Jacksons, the Xavier Nadies, Ryan Drees, Marcus Semien, I think is up there too. And some of these more current guys.
But Can up there.
Yeah. Can is up there, so all of a sudden you were like, damn. You know what? I enjoyed my time here, and now they enjoyed me being there. That meant so much to me. It's a blast, and I've got a picture somewhere buried on my phone of that wall. And when my kids give me a hard time, I'm like, "Hey, look, are you on your college wall?" I am. And
Well,
I take a
then
lot of pride in that.
Do you hold up your other phone and go, here's a statue of me at Comiskey?
That's in the final chamber if I really need to get at somebody.
I have a statue of me at a big league ballpark.
Yeah.
The magnitude of me.
But the only reason that statue of me hitting left-handed is because of Bob Milano at Cal. That's the only reason.
He switched you around?
He told me as an 18-year-old, he goes, you're going to learn how to hit left-handed. I almost said something really awful.
We're streaming.
Okay. I almost said he was batshit crazy because I had only hit right-handed up until I was 18 years old. And he goes, I think you can do it. And I was like, you're crazy, but I'll try it. Man, 2005, I get up there left-handed, and I have a 14-year career because I can switch hit. Bob Milano, right up the street at Cal. He's the only guy that really believed in me and taught me to believe in myself.
Well, when they asked us, because last year we had over 1.7 million downloads.
Damn.
I said this is one of the reasons why. We bring the Cal Bear guy on, and Cal brings people to the yard.
Bring it. Yeah, absolutely. There's some diehards out here. This is where it all happened.
Well,
yeah.
I know Northern California means a lot to you. That's
does.
why it's always and I can tell you, over the years when we had a text line, whenever we'd have you on the pregame show, there were people you went to college with that would go, that's my boy. We would get that all the time.
Yep. There was a lot of those Cal alum come out of the woodwork when I start showing up. I love it.
We don't like the Astros, but we love him. He's the man.
I get it. I do get
yes. It'll go away at some point.
You hope, right?
Yeah.
You hope.
Great stuff.
Yeah,
Congratulations on everything.
No, appreciate you.
And we will talk to you later in the season.
I absolutely I 100% look forward to it.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live. This is Chris Townsend, and it is summertime. You want to look your best, and I can't tell you how excited I am. Commander Cody, we've got our new shipment from Link Soul, all the summer gear. So whether you're playing golf or you're going out for dinner, you're hanging out with your buddies, or you're going to the beach, go see our friends at linksoul.com. And right now they have an offer where you can get 20% off. Go to linksoul.com. Remember, in the big leagues, look good, play good.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
Put on your favorite cowboy boots and get ready to see the best fireworks in the Bay Area on Saturday, July 22nd. Saddle up for a one-of-a-kind country experience during our third fireworks show of the season, presented by UBO.
As the pitch to Langolier, swung out a fly ball to left field, hit well, going back far, show at the wall, looks up, and it is gone!
After the A's take on the Houston Astros, enjoy a mix of the best country hits as you watch the show from the field. Tickets start at just $10 and are available at athletics.com/tickets.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
It's Kids Cheer Free all summer long. Bring your kids ages 14 and younger to the ballpark on Sunday home games for free. After the game, race around the bases with Stomper on the same field that your favorite A's players do. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/kidsfree.
My friend Tom's family only uses wireless for home internet, so it can be mad slow when everyone's online. But we get fast, reliable internet from Xfinity, so I can game with basically no interruptions. Ooh, it just leveled up.
Now through September 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gig internet with unlimited data included on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires PayPal still and an auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular supplied internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Summertime is golf time in the Bay Area, and that means it's time to enjoy the beautiful vistas, 27 holes of championship golf, and all the amenities that Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Cinnabar Hills gives you a variety on the course and in their amazing grill. They're ready to give you an incredible experience for any family, business, or social gathering. Nestled in the quiet hills of San Jose, summertime fun awaits you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Learn more at cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
Innovation is at the core of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students preserve genetic information from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and the entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
When Northern California businesses need some pop in their lineup, they call the bank rooted in the East Bay, Mechanics Bank. Since 1905, Mechanics Bank has been helping Bay Area and Northern California businesses find success and perform at the top of their game. See how they can make a difference in your business today. Call or stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Streaming from the Treehouse, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All right, so right over this hand right here, over this guy in the hat, Amelia Schimmel, the voice of the Oakland Coliseum, is busy at work doing bingo here in the Treehouse, giving away all kinds of free prizes. Now, we are not giving this out today. Is that correct, Commander?
That is correct.
This is actually an old Italian Heritage Night stomper with the Italian flag. But this is being given away. If you didn't get this, and I know a lot of you like to collect all of them, if you didn't get that, I'm taking this, by the way.
Oh, there's plenty. We'll get you
Well,
one.
No, this is going on our desk
We got the Captain Marvel one from the other day.
This is going to be going on the road desk in the road studio for the Athletic. We haven't been on the road.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Next week, Giants, Rockies.
7 straight days of going into San Francisco for me was way too much.
Nothing says July like Rockies, Giants.
Cody did one day. So when I got to fill in for Brody Brazil, it's like doing 2 jobs because I got to do this job, my job, then I got to do his job. Cody does it one day and was so dragging last night. Like, oh, my God, I do post game. You're soft.
Well,
welcome to the big leagues.
Well, when you work 12 hours in a day.
Yeah, welcome and see how it works. You all right today?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're going to make it?
Yeah.
We're going to have Zach Geloff win.
After BP, so we'll see him walk up eventually.
That's going to be pretty soon, right?
Yeah, by the way, I think this might be, if I remember correctly, because, I remember every guest we have on. I don't think we've ever had Geloff. We didn't have him in spring training. And then we didn't have him after he was drafted. I don't think we've ever
had him on TV.
So yeah, you might have, but I don't think he's ever been on this program.
Were you shocked when I brought up Paul Konerko for the Hall of Fame?
No, and
what's his war?
Hold on,
You call him Paulie. I call him Paul Konerko.
Well, our good friend Hawk Harrelson calls him Paulie.
Yes.
Konerko's war is.
If he's at 60.
No, it's a 28.1 somehow.
Oh, he's in the Garvey range, huh?
But Blummer was right. If you average out it's from 99 to 2012, you do the average, 30 home runs, 93 runs driven in, and a.
That's what I don't understand by WAR. Like, how can somebody hit so many home runs and drive in so many runs and their WAR stinks? Is that just such a it's like Garvey. How did Garvey drive in all those runs of all those hits? Is it because of first base?
Probably because of the defense.
You just give no love?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's a defensive thing too.
You're essentially the same numbers as Scott Rowland, home runs and RBIs wise.
Yeah.
And Scott Rowland's a 70, I want to say.
70, 70.1 or 70.6, something like that.
And I am not going to slight Scott Rowland because Scott Rowland was a terrific player. He was a big guy, really good on defense. He was consistent offensively. Scott Rowland, I understand why he's a baseball Hall of Famer. But I will say this. MLB Now doing the Hall of Fame show today from the plaque room, which has probably got to be one of the greatest honors in our business, is to do an actual television show from the plaque room at the Baseball Hall of Fame, where I watched Raleigh Fingers on the show today. Raleigh rolled in a Hawaiian shirt, not a Ray Jensen. By the way, the Karate Kid has given me it's not a Hawaiian shirt. It is, what would you call it? A Jersey Shore Hawaiian shirt.
A Shorean shirt.
Awesome.
With watermelons on it.
Raleigh rolled into the plaque room in a Hawaiian shirt and shorts today to be on with Brian Kenny.
Did he have flip-flops on, though?
Didn't show. He just had shorts and a Hawaiian shirt.
If he had the boat shoes on, it would have been even better.
They had Ryan Sandberg on the show. But the whole show, so basically in television, we call them segments in radio. In television, they call them blocks. So the A block, which is your number one block, it's how you start the show, all was Fred McGriff. The next block, oh, God, I forgot what it is now. It's a C block they got to defense. Rowland, the guy who actually was voted in, wasn't until the third block.
Interesting.
And it's because what I got into about we have a problem with we're taking away from guys being stars. Fred McGriff is a far bigger star than Scott Rowland. He's a far bigger significance in baseball history. They had some numbers on Fred McGriff. Only Eddie Murray in modern day baseball, Hall of Famer, has hit in the 4-hole consecutively and consistently more than Fred McGriff in the history of modern day baseball. The 4-hole is a guy that hits home runs and drives in runs.
Yeah.
That's who that 4-hole guy is. Fred McGriff, Eddie Murray. No, I mean, they had all these numbers of consistency that nobody clean has as good a numbers as Fred McGriff, in that clearly the steroid guys overshadowed Fred McGriff. But now we're able to look at it and go, yeah, Fred McGriff. But it's like Fred McGriff, this was basically like Fred McGriff's going into the Hall of Fame and Scott Rowland. And Scott Rowland was the guy voted in, and it's Fred McGriff was the committee guy.
Yeah. I could see that. And Fred McGriff was a great player. I mean, I got to watch the tail end of his career when he was a Devil Ray. And
when I was growing up, Fred McGriff was a premier power hitter and really good hitter. He wasn't hitting 230 and hitting 30 home runs. He led the league in home runs back when hitting 35 home runs and leading the league was reality.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't have guys hitting 60 home runs. No one 70 home runs. 50 home runs was like a wow year. 40 home runs was a wow year. Ball wasn't juiced. Players weren't juiced. Ballparks weren't juiced. Fred McGriff was an all-star. He was looked at as one of the best players. He's one of the great trades of all time going to Atlanta. Atlanta was like 51 or 52 and 17.
Yeah, I remember
after
looking
they
up the other
traded
day.
for him and they tracked down the Giants. I mean, Fred McGriff was a premier player, but I just found it interesting on the show that was like the Hall of Fame show on the MLB Network. They did two different segments, two different blocks. They didn't get to Scott Rowland, the actual guy who was voted in till the third block. It was about Fred McGriff and about the future. Now we look at some of the players, especially some of the players who haven't gotten in or who are big names.
Yeah, I just got to text Gallups on his way up. So I want to give you this real quick before we get him. I told you I put together my list of guys that I think should be in the Hall of Fame that excludes steroid guys and Pete Rose, because I think all the steroid guys should be in: Bonds, Clemens, McGuire, Sosa, Palmeiro. First guy, Billy Wagner.
That they talked about that with not Billy Wagner, but they talked about that. How do you know the first reliever to get in?
Who was the first reliever to get in? Hoyt Wilhelm.
Hoyt Wilhelm. Took him 8 tries.
Yeah, well.
And then it was Raleigh.
Yep.
And you know who the third one was?
Eck.
And you've had Mariano Rivera.
Unanimous Hall of Fame.
I mean, there's not a lot of closers in the history or relievers in the history of the game.
Trevor Hoffman.
Who have been, and Trevor Hoffman. I mean, it's very, very, very few. So I'm okay with Billy Wagner.
All right, this guy, I'll give you his WAR, 68.4. How's Kenny Lofton, not considered more for the Hall of Fame?
Kenny Lofton should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
75.1 WAR. How's Lou Whitaker not in the Hall of Fame?
Lou Whitaker should be the next Fred McGriff, where
Yes.
they really look at it and go, a 75 WAR for a second baseman who is arguably the best tandem in the history of baseball, shortstop, second base, with Alan Trammell.
Yeah, also a Hall of Fame.
How is Lou Whitaker? All right, I'm just going to look up because I saw today, and I do think Ryan Sandberg should be a Hall of Famer, but I'm going to bet that Ryan Sandberg, I'm going to bet you that his WAR is not as high.
I was going to say if it
Ryan Sandberg's WAR, 67.9. I'm close to Lou Whitaker's. I agree with you. Lou Whitaker should be in.
62.7. Hembo's a big fan of this guy. Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones, having played a premier defensive position, probably played it better than anybody we've ever seen. No disrespect to whoever you want to throw out there. I mean, you could throw out Griffey, you could throw out Devon White, you could throw out Jim Edmonds, Steve Finley. We've had a lot of great defensive center fielders.
It's funny you mentioned that. My last guy on the list.
Jim Edmonds.
Yeah. 60.4 WAR. He had a higher OPS. He had 100 less RBIs, less home runs, higher batting average than Andrew Jones. But Edmonds.
Here's the thing. You're falling into the trap, too. It's just who accumulated numbers. You're just saying because baseball is a game of math, right? The more you play, the more you accumulate numbers. Well, he accumulated all these numbers, and just because he got those numbers, he should be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying you're wrong, but then now we're looking at guys who are actual real stars. Jim Edmonds was not a star.
No.
We're not talking about MVP. We're not talking about a guy who was like a star player who has star moments. He had some great catches, but that's what I'm saying.
True.
I can take Dave Parker was a star.
Yes.
Steve Garvey was a star. Keith Hernandez was a star. We're talking about guys who starred in postseason, guys who won MVPs, guys who were looked at in their generation of player. And then you're bringing me Jim Edmonds?
Yeah. No, it's fair.
I mean, I remember Jim Edmonds in that stupid Disney Angel uniform. Remember how bad those uniforms got?
Oh, those Angels in the outfield.
Okay. Steve Garvey and Jim Edmonds both played in Southern California. You want to tell me who was a star in Southern California?
Yeah, Garvey.
Garvey was a star.
I remember Edmonds as a Cardinal because I was too young when he played for the Angels.
I mean, seriously. I'm not saying an Edmonds or a Wagner, because part of the problem with Billy Wagner is he was garbage in the postseason.
Yeah, that's fair. And Scott Rowland wasn't good in the postseason either. But there's one honorable mention, and yes, it's not a homer pick, but he should deserve more credit.
Bobby Bonilla is not Andy Van Slyke. Don't bring me into your pirate garbage.
Captain Sal has the WAR to be in the Hall of Fame.
What? He's in the 60s.
I think it's 60 point something. Captain Sal has the WAR to be in the Hall of Fame.
How about all these positions? Zach Gallup's here. How about all these positions that are totally unrepresented in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Well, Zach Gallup is a player we've been waiting to get on here on A's Cast Live, and we finally have him on. Finally get to meet him. We wanted to have him on at spring training. And we were thinking about we haven't been able to have you on this show. I had you on NBC. Yeah, I was that TV guy talking to you the other day. Here, put this down right here. We had you on the post-game show the other day. We finally get to meet you here on A's Cast. This is our flagship channel, station, YouTube. You see us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Also, people can listen streaming for all the A's fans. We've been waiting to have you on. It's great to finally have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've seen plenty of you on A's Cast and the videos and stuff, so really appreciate what you do and excited to be here.
So you're here. You're finally here.
Yep.
What has it been like?
It's been a whirlwind, especially the first few days with my family, and things were moving fast. I was getting texts left and right, and I finally got a chance to respond to all those guys. But yeah, it's a lot, and it's obviously pretty difficult, but it's been a blast. I love playing this game, and I'm trying to be the best I can be.
I so hope your family is going to get the recordings of the game, because we had cameras all over your mom and dad, and they were going nuts.
Yeah.
That's priceless stuff. Priceless. Did you get to see any of that?
Yeah, I did. It was part of the one of the highlights of my first hit. But yeah, I feel like whenever someone texts me, they're like, we can't stop seeing your parents and family on there, because everything I do, it's like, here's the family. The second day they had the custom Geloff jerseys already, so they didn't skip a beat. But it's awesome, and it's just a testament to them, because I wouldn't be here without my family. So it was just awesome to be a part of.
I always like to ask, there's that moment where you get here and I don't know if you're walking in, it's maybe playing against a certain guy, or it's in the clubhouse, or there's that moment where you just go, I'm in the big leagues. Like something hit you where what was that moment?
First game, first pitch, the top of the first, Correa hits a ball to right field for a stand-up double, and he gets on base, and I'm like, all right, welcome to it. Like, here we go. But other than that, it's just kind of like you play like MLB The Show, and you get in the box, and you're facing guys, like especially last night against their closer. It felt like I was in a video game, but you just got to know that, these are my peers too. Like I'm here, they have to pitch against me. So just trying to think that way as well.
This is fascinating, because Soderstrom said the same thing. It was like, he's catching, and there's Correa.
Yeah.
It's like, you've been watching these guys on television, and now you're playing against them. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, especially Correa. I mean, he's been in the playoffs countless times, coming through in big spots. So, that was pretty surreal. But now it's kind of, it should be an everyday thing of like, these are my peers now, and maybe in a few years, like someone looks at me and it's like, oh, that's my welcome to the show moment.
So we got to see you. We came down to San Jose when you were with the Ports to play the San Jose Giants, and you were a third baseman.
Yep.
What is that transition from third to second been like for you?
It was pretty difficult at first, but honestly, I feel like with my skill set, I think it actually helps being over there, because I can use my athleticism a little bit more, going left to right. And turning double plays, and kind of feel like it brings out the shortstop in me back from high school. So I've been loving it so far, and hopefully I can keep it up.
I think about being fearless in the big leagues. A lot of you guys, you come up ready to play. You not only steal second base, to hell with it, I'm stealing third. I mean, most guys, you steal your first base, you stole your second. Just talk about that mentality of you're coming up here to get yours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even look back. I don't even know if I got the green light or not, but I had him. I think I did. I'm not really sure. It was my first day. The signs were relatively the same, but no, I had him timed up pretty good, and it was first and second. I believe it was 1 out. So even if I get thrown out, it's like it's not the worst case. We still have a guy in scoring position, but I truly felt like I could get it, and it was just a given. And obviously, I slid, but there was no throw. So if it's there, I'm going to steal. I mean, I think that's something that I can bring to the team to help, and I think I ended up scoring. So if I can just, do anything to help the team win, I'm going to do it.
What's interesting is the adjustments that are already being made by the other teams against you, because you had success. You hit the ball off the wall. You've had a triple and a couple doubles, right? So you've shown you can hit it to all fields and everything. Are you starting to see the adjustments they're making against you?
Yes. Now, the results haven't been coming recently, but now just talking with other guys in the clubhouse, as well as coaches and stuff, like you see it, and it's something I haven't really ever had to do. I mean, in the minor leagues, you kind of look at the pitcher and then you go up there and just hit. But now it's, if you can't hit this certain pitch or whatnot, they're going to keep going in that spot. And the execution from the big league pitchers is obviously really good, because this is the best, best baseball it gets. So,
yeah, I've always found that fascinating, how once they know, they're going to wear you out until you prove you can't do it. Because when you're in the minor leagues, everybody's trying to get to the big leagues,
right,
and you're not concentrating as much on winning as you do up here, and all the video work and the scouting reports and everything. that is the chess game. It's like you're going to have to make adjustments now, and hopefully you play for another 15 years, but 15 years from now, you're still going to be making adjustments.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the name of the game. You're never going to stop making adjustments. So, it's something I'm going to, try to do, see what they give me and just kind of try to keep adjusting. But, not necessarily worrying about like what they're trying to do, but also what I do well and kind of sticking to that until I have to ultimately battle with two strikes.
How about the speed of the game? Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah. It's a little bit faster. I mean, you got the best athletes in the world playing this game. So, there's that. But at the end of the day, the bases are still the same. It's just, guys are a little bit bigger, faster, stronger. And, but, at the end of the day, it's the same game. So
let's end on this. Coming up with Tyler, you guys are good friends. It was the All-Star break. You guys are like, hey, I'm going up. What is it like to do this with your buddy to come up together?
It's pretty cool. I think it takes the pressure off of each of us individually, just because if I have a good day and he doesn't, it's like, all right, these guys are doing the right things. But, it's just been awesome to share that experience with him coming up. And now I think it's kind of geared towards now we want to win together in the big leagues and do everything we can to stay up here for a long time.
Well, I'll tell you what, these fans who are watching and listening, they've been following your career. I also do the post-game show. People in calling, I can't wait till he comes up. Everybody is so fired up that you're here. It's great. There's a great vibe right now, and congratulations. And to your family, too. I know what it means to them, and hopefully we're doing this for like another 15 years.
Yeah, that's the goal. Just got to keep getting better every day and having fun doing it, so I look forward to it.
Awesome stuff. It's great to meet you.
Thank you.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
It's summertime, and I can guarantee you probably need to redo your wardrobe. You want to look good, and you want to feel comfortable. This is Chris Townsend, and you got to go check out my friends at Link Soul. They've got all the finest fabrics. You're going to love the shirts, the polos, the shorts, you name it. Redo your look for summertime. Go to linksoul.com right now, and you can get an offer for 20% off. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Summertime is golf time in the Bay Area, and that means it's time to enjoy the beautiful vistas, 27 holes of championship golf, and all the amenities that Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Cinnabar Hills gives you a variety on the course and in their amazing grill. They're ready to give you an incredible experience for any family, business, or social gathering. Nestled in the quiet hills of San Jose, summertime fun awaits you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Learn more at cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
And the underdogs Oakland Athletics win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, three-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ for me or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Serrata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
Saddle up for a country fireworks show presented by UBO. Enjoy a mix of the best country hits after the A's take on the Houston Astros on Saturday, July 22nd. Tickets are available at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services. specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
If you're looking for the latest green and gold gear for the 2023 season, then look no further than athletics.com/shop for your officially licensed gear. That's athletics.com/shop.
My friend Tom's family only uses wireless for home internet, so it can be mad slow when everyone's online. But we get fast, reliable internet from Xfinity, so I can game with basically no interruptions. Ooh, it just leveled up.
Now through September 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gig internet with unlimited data included on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires credit bill still in an auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular supplied internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All right. I have good news because I was worried. We play The Man is Open.
The Eno Sarah Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
So I've been calling, I've been texting. I'm like, is Eno mad at me? I mean, I've been praising you about your work recently about way too many sliders. Hitters are adjusting to it. You won't get back to me. I'm like, is there like a breakup with A's Cast here? Why won't he get back to me? I was losing sleep, and then I find out
the phone's been dead. I've been phoneless for a week. It's been great. I read a book.
You got back to yourself.
My children.
Oh, you talked to them.
Yeah.
They didn't text you?
Yeah. Well, one has a watch now. Yeah, he texted me.
Isn't it great not having a phone?
Yeah, it was good for a little bit, yeah.
I know a lot of people, you think it's crazy, but a few years ago, we were down at the beach, and of course, hopped in the water with the phone in. Phone dies, right? And I think it's the end of the world. I ended up going a month without the phone because it was liberating.
Yeah.
I wasn't constantly checking this thing. It's like it was liberating. And then my wife was like, we have kids, you need a phone. Right? You got all right, I'll get a phone. But it's nice, like kind of like disconnecting from the world. And if you want me, call my house phone.
Yeah. Well, we don't even have a house phone. So
there you go. So you can't call me. Email
get
me
online. Yeah, email. I did do some emailing. We had to do some emailing.
Fax me. Send a fax.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good week without it. Although it kind of is, it's hanging over your head. You gotta fix this thing. It's like you gotta fix. It's like something your wife tells you have to fix, and you keep being like, no. And eventually, you just have to fix it.
And wives don't like that; they can't get a hold of you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It bothers them. I've been referencing the last time we were here.
I heard you once in the bathroom.
Did you?
Yeah, because you get broadcast in the bathroom.
Yes. So I think of a couple guys like Luis Medina. I'm like, I look at his numbers. He's got this great curveball, hardly throws it, but when he does, they can't hit it. He throws a ton of sliders, and they hit it. Yesterday, Hogan Harris, cutter slider, they got over a 300 average against him, but when he goes fastball change, numbers are way down. It's like you're throwing way too many sliders. I don't care what the R&D department is saying. Hitters are saying too many of them. You got to use other pitches.
Well, I mean, hitters train. The league is training hitters by what they throw. So if they're not throwing changeups and sinkers as much, hitters are not seeing those changeups and sinkers as much, and they're not getting trained to get better at those. So I think there's an element of truth to that for sure.
We learned so much from you on this show. Like I learned, and everybody you should have learned, that the New York Yankees have the largest R&D research and data department in baseball. Years ago, you farmed out and got information. Teams still do, but the Yankees brought it all in-house. They create all their own data. They have the most employees. You talked about how they have this model of the type of pitcher and the type of hitter they want. And I was thinking about you because it's been a glorious thing for me when I go to the standings and I see the New York Yankees in last place. It's like the greatest thing in the world. It's like Christmas every day.
Well, I had an interesting conversation. I just spoke for 15 minutes each with Hunter Brown and JP France. You saw JP France last night.
Pretty good.
And Hunter Brown is kind of a fire-breathing monster. He throws really hard, has a really hard slider, 92-mile-an-hour slider. Mini Verlander, yeah. So I was talking to both of them, and it was amazing to me how different they are now than when they were drafted. I mean, Hunter Brown is talking to me about that 92-mile-an-hour slider, the Verlander slider that he throws. He didn't even have that when he was drafted. He said it was fastball, curveball, and everything else they've given him. JP France said that when he was drafted, he was throwing 90 miles an hour, and his changeup, he was throwing 69, and his curveball, he was throwing 72. Right now, those are both in the 80s. He's throwing 95 mile an hour, and he was talking about all the sort of mechanical changes he made. And what really struck me was JP France and Hunter Brown are not at all alike. They don't pitch alike. One's a power pitcher. One's a kind of mix-it-up guy. I would say JP France's changeup is better. They're different guys. Hunter Brown is huge. JP France is small. And so, what struck me about that was with the Yankees, I get the sense that the Yankees have these findings from on high, and then they disperse those findings in the minor leagues. And that's a very efficient way to do things because you keep changing coaches, but you can keep the nerds there. And see, the nerds say, this is how we should do things. Teach everyone a sweeper. And so then you tend to your coaches, hey, teach everybody a sweeper. And the Yankees and the Mariners, they literally just taught everybody a sweeper. But the sweeper's not good for everybody. It's not the perfect pitch for everybody. It's really for people who are here instead of people who are here, And so, already there's something you should do where you could be like, hey, don't teach it to these guys. It doesn't make any sense to teach it to those guys. And what I get a sense from the Astros, what they do that's really difficult is have the findings from the nerds and then have feel and touch and understand that each pitcher is a little different.
You mean like when they go, well, this is what Tiger Woods does.
Yeah. Do I look like Tiger Woods? Yeah.
How does playing Tiger in his prime?
How am I going to be Tiger?
How old? Yeah. And you're talking about what Tiger did in his prime? Yeah. You want me at my age? If I swing like that, my back will got like. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, give me a little bit of more like what the 60-year-old shark was doing instead.
Tell me what the guys on the senior tour are doing. Yeah. Don't tell me what Rory McIlroy. It's at 370.
Yeah.
Like what?
So look at Hunter Brown and say, okay, we got this big tall guy. He's going to do this. He releases here. Let's do this. Let's do this. And you look at JP France and say, oh, he's a little bit different. Let's do this. Let's do this. So
Astros. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've really been masters at taking other people and making them way better.
Yeah, even on the major league level, they do. They have. I think what they have is a great sense of like what they can do in their system, in their major league coaching, in their minor league system, and so they can take a player from you that you think, oh, we can't coach this thing up, and they say, oh, we know we can coach this aspect up. We know we can take sliders like this and make them look like this. And you have a pitcher that has slider like this. We're going to make it look like this. He's going to be better. Like they know what they can do, and they know, and then they can go and find pitchers that don't do, that they can coach up.
Yeah.
And so they know that at the major league level, they know at the minor league level. And one of the keys to that just got hired away, which is when the Giants hired Pete Patilla away. He was the director of player development. And I was just talking to somebody within the Astros organization, said he was really key to like hiring all the best coaches, putting these processes in place, and having that blend of feel with analytics on the minor league level. So be interesting to see if the Giants take a step forward with that, if the Astros take a step backward. But you're seeing in France, Framber, Luis Garcia, all these guys, you're seeing guys that weren't drafted high, that other people said had flaws, that weren't going to make it, and they've all become the best versions of themselves.
You think of what we're dealing with now in the Bay Area with the Golden State Warriors. You could go back in the day with the San Francisco 49ers, their long dynasty. Patriots had to do it. You've seen it with the Chicago Bulls or the Celtics or the Lakers, a lot of different sports. Is how do you keep prolonging the winning and the success at a high level? And you got to give the Astros.
Open the window as long as possible, make it as long as possible. There might be a rebuild that has to happen at some point, but
6 years, ALCS, 4 World Series, 2 championships. I mean, this is 6 years of phenomenal baseball.
I think it's about as close to a dynasty as you can have in Major League Baseball now. There's
How do
things
they
that
keep
go
it
up
rolling,
and down.
though? Because we just had Jeff Blum here, and he just said, the top 100 prospects aren't there anymore, right?
And
it's
it's
like,
going to be difficult because they also got penalized for the cheating scandal. So, like, they haven't had even their own top draft picks, So maybe they can hit it hard in the international scene. They have a lot of those pitchers that they've got in their rotation right now. They signed internationally. I think the Jose Abreu was a misstep. I think that was a big misstep to give him that many years. So, like, there may be things going on there that sort of show that at some point it's going to go back down. But if they can keep the player development going, I think with the A's, one of the things that was kind of key recently that was maybe even undercovered was Pike Goldschmidt, who works in the analytics department here, the director of R&D, basically. He was it's not a reassignment or anything. It's like he chose to be more a part of player development. So now he's in R&D, but the focus is player development. And that's a real inspiration to me because that's, he had a focus. He was doing stuff at the major league level, but he recognized how important it is to develop these players at the best they can be. And so he's taking that energy to the minor leagues. And so I think, one thing that the A's don't do very much is change. They've had a lot of the guys in place for a long, long time. So taking Pike from there and putting him over there represents a great deal of change for the A's.
Okay. That's why people need to realize what we do with A's Cast is pretty amazing.
That's true.
Because back with the people who used to run not R&D, but our department would have never seen this. Like, no way. I mean, the fact what we've been able to do inside this organization, in an organization of not a whole lot of change, because it just wasn't from player development. God love you, Kim Priest, but there was no way it would have happened under him. We would have done this.
Yeah, well, kudos to y'all.
We
cool.
have to pay
Innovative.
for a mixer, and we got to pay for some iPads, and we got headsets. What?
Yeah, but you guys make this stuff travel so much. I mean, you found a way to kind of use the content that you do make in ways that's innovative and flushes it out. You know what I mean? Like it's a really cool thing that you've done.
It's the R&D aspect of it and how every team does it. It is pretty fascinating because we're still a wild, wild west, and we now know baseball kind of want to corral it and not have as much employees, I guess, and people kind of digging from the same type of information. You don't like that.
No, I don't like that. I think I just don't like when MLB comes in and a lot of times it just tries to limit spending. They limit spending on the draft with the draft slots. They limit spending in the national draft with those draft pools. They just basically there's a lot of energy from Central on limiting spending, and that has something to do with parity and some teams having a lot more to spend than others. I understand that, but look at a team like the Rays. They don't spend a lot on the major league side, but they do spend a lot of time, energy, and a fair amount of money on the player development side, and you can see that kind of come through. And so what you do when you limit spending is you limit ways for even the smaller market teams sometimes to be competitive.
So back in the day, like let's look at the Astros. So when Jeffrey Lunau was there, and I don't even know if you can still do this, but when you start looking at Framber Valdez or Christian Javier or whoever, back in the day, they went internationally and just took a ton of money but spread it out a bunch of dudes.
Really tiny bonuses, old guys.
Who was only 10 grand?
I think Christian Javier was like 10,000.
It was like 10,000. They get
Jose Urquidy.
You get 20.
Yeah.
Cody gets 10.
Yeah.
Townsend, you'll get 3,500.
And you know what baseball's response to that was? Trim the minor leagues, trim the complex, how many people you can have in the complex, limit how many minor leaguers you can have. So they actually went and limited a way that the Astros were really innovative.
Could I still do that?
It's harder now. You have a cap on how many players you can have in the minor leagues.
Because I hate this fact that we're giving some kids $3 to $5 million and they're 16 years old and they've never played. They've just been all these tryouts. I love the idea of bunch of pitchers. You get 25, you get 40, you get this. Bring him here and let's see.
It's all so complicated because I'm fine with like a smaller bonus, but then they have to be paid like a living wage.
Once they get here,
yeah, you can't give them $20,000 and then be like, okay, it's you get $5,000 for playing this year. You know what I mean? Which some guys were doing in high A and stuff. So, and then in order to pay people more, you kind of do need to slim the minors.
Well, I mean, we paid Robert Poisson $5.1 million. He can't get out of Stockton.
Yeah.
$5.1 million.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, at the same time, like, you gotta bring up the living wages. In order to do that, maybe you have to cut the amount of teams you have because, the Modesto Lugnuts are not making money.
They're not making a ton of money?
No. I think when I went to a Modesto game, there was like 15 people there.
I wanted to ask you about the competitive balance tax because I know the Yankees want to get under the four levels are 293 million, 273 million, 253
and 233.
And 233. The Yankees want to stay under the 293. So I don't know how they're going to do it. They want to get below it, and then all of a sudden you're going to have call-ups and all this different kind of stuff. They want to get below it. I think what people don't understand is it's just not the tax. They affect you when you draft, how you draft.
You lose draft
So there's
picks.
a reason why, that's the highest 293. Yankees aren't going below 233.
Yeah.
But just talk about how.
Well, actually, there's another team that's really interesting there is that the Dodgers are at 248. And, I took part in a sort of trade Shohei Ohtani game for a podcast on Fangraphs. And I was Andrew Friedman, and I was like, do I want to just take on the $10 million that's owed Shohei Ohtani and give you less in terms of prospects, or do I make you pay the $10 million for Shohei Ohtani and give you a better prospect? And so that's something that the Yankees will be thinking about too. Do we give up prospects to get money off of this team? Do we give up if we were trying to acquire someone for the stretch run and he costs money? Do we make the other team pay it down and give them a better prospect for it? That's the sort of thinking that's going on in LA and in New York right now.
Was it fun playing the Let's Trade Shohei Ohtani game?
I had a little fun with it. Yeah.
Brought to you by Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
Coming to you in the next couple of weeks.
It was supposed to be a mythical phone message that I'd left for Perry Manasian. So I had a little fun with it.
You're screwed either way, so just give me the player. Come on, Perry, you're getting fired.
I ended it with, we're getting him in free agency anyway.
Yeah. You're going to have to fire Phil Nevin anyway. This thing's a train wreck. I would say trade Trout to the Yankees now. He gets hurt every year. I like this game. You know what? Let's play. Let's leave messages for all the front office guys.
Yeah.
David Forrest, that Chris Townsend guy, he's amazing.
Yeah, you got to give him a raise.
When I think about it, we're playing this game. All of a sudden, Angels sweep the Yankees. The game changed a little bit.
Yeah, and that's gonna make it really interesting. What we hear most recently is they're gonna listen to things right up into the deadline, and you can see it in their playoff odds. Like right now, they're at like 13-14%. They could, if they won 6 in a row up into the deadline, that could jump up to 25-30%. And 30%, we have 1 in 3 chance if we keep Shohei. We haven't been to the playoffs very much.
See, I'm a business guy. I think of the business side. I make millions, and I mean millions.
Yes, but how much of that is already baked in? Like
not for the home run record in Japan. I can sell if all of a sudden he's going for the home run record, which they're not going to care about bonds.
So you can actually sell per game TV rights in Japan while this is going on.
The advertising, you could. There's a money to be made
because most TV contracts are baked in for the year.
Correct.
So you're not renegotiating the deal.
Yeah, but you're able to sell
if you sell
advertising.
jerseys, but if you sell jerseys, that goes to the central fund.
Yeah, but if I'm selling advertisings, like if Shohei Ohtani plays here and you see Japanese advertising, that's the A's have been selling that.
Right.
I can sell per game stuff, advertising, and if
because you have the green screens behind home plate
and
too,
if
right?
he's going for the record, do you know how many? 90% of the televisions were watching the World
WBC.
For the WBC. If he's going for the home run record.
Right. And then maybe that makes it more likely you sign the next Japanese player. And so that's money coming in. And if you have like a 25% chance of making the postseason and you got money coming in and he's going for the thing, yeah, maybe you just keep him.
And the one thing that we do know is the fact teams really do not want to part with prospects.
I mean, as Andrew Friedman.
Yeah, what were you giving up?
Michael Busch. You don't even know who that is, do you?
No.
He strikes out a little bit too much. He's got good power. We don't know his position.
What
second or third.
prospect? What number is he right now?
He's like their 4th.
You're calling me up saying I got my fourth guy who I don't even know where he's
Their
going to
number
play.
one guy is like Diego Cartaya. He's like a top 15, top 20 prospect. Those guys don't get traded anymore.
So you want me to trade you Shohei Ohtani, skip out on my millions for a guy that I don't know where he's going to play and he strikes out too much and he's your number 4 guy?
Oh, I was also going to give you a bunch of other pitchers.
I'll give you Aletmus Diaz, Jace Peterson, Tony Kemp.
Now you sound like a WFAN caller.
Seth Brown. Who else do we got? Older player. Who's over? Brent Rooker.
Trevor May.
Trevor May. I would have given you Fuji, but he's gone.
Fuji pitching right now. First pitch home run allowed.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, where's Pip Roberts?
Well, I mean, like I also made the case on my podcast, the 3-0 show, that the Orioles should maybe go for it because they're in first place. You know, they've got a young team. They've got extra prospects, but they're not going to give up Jackson Holliday. That's their version that you're talking about. Jackson Holliday is maybe I think he's the number one prospect.
What's
in
his
baseball.
name's kid? Our old.
It's Matt Holliday's old
Holiday.
kid,
Holiday.
yeah. Matt
Holiday.
Holiday. Yeah.
That's Matt Holiday's
Matt
kid.
Holliday's kid is the number one prospect in
He
baseball.
was just drafted, right?
Yeah, but
Last
there's
year?
no way the Orioles would give them up.
No, they don't get. I was in a conversation. I'm not dropping names here, but I'm dropping names. I was in a conversation with Scott Boras and Billy Bean about this.
Uh-huh.
Shohei Ohtani, when we brought him in and we had that big to-do at our offices, Boras was there. I just got a 3-way. It was more a 2-way conversation. I was just there. But listening to Boras and Bean talk about how modern-day general managers are not riverboat gamblers other than A.J. Preller.
They want to avoid risk.
They do not. They do not want to give up prospects. So that's why media people want to act like there's this pot of gold of prospects for Shohei Ohtani. And I'm sitting there going, I don't buy it. That's why I think he doesn't get traded.
You might be right. I mean, like I said, I offered Michael Bush and Ryan Pepio. Pepio's the guy that came up, has good stuff, but does not know where the zone is.
What if I gave you Reggie Bush and the Heisman Trophy? Would that help? Michael, but not, you're going to give me the number 4 Dodger prize, and he strikes out too much, and he doesn't have a position.
I mean, maybe you could push it to Miguel Vargas, the guy who came up and played for a while, but then went back down. He's like the number 3, I think.
Do you believe in the whole?
I'm not giving you Bobby Miller. Sorry. Dude throws 100.
How about Dustin May and the 2 Tommy Johns? He was a great prospect at one point. Do you believe in the bring the guy in, romance him while he's here?
No, 100% no. And here's why. He already did that. And how did it work out?
Oh, with the Angels?
Yeah. He already did that because when he came over, everybody could offer him the same deal.
Yeah.
And he chose the Angels. And he chose the Angels because Mike Trout was there, whatever it was, or this or that. The next one is going to be, there's only 2 questions. I think there's only 2 questions that matter. Are you going to be in the playoffs next year? Are you, maybe even more, are you a World Series contender? And
for years, probably.
And does it start with a 5-0-0?
But wait a minute, I got Space Mountain and the Matterhorn over here you can ride. It's right across the freeway.
He doesn't care about that.
It's a small world's right there, the Jungle Cruise.
He doesn't care about that. He can buy the Matterhorn after this next contract. And I think, I mean, the one third thing that might matter for him, I have some knowledge of his thinking, is that he's actually very progressive in terms of data technology. He might want to see that your team is making the most of those things.
How many teams?
So I would say Dodgers are the number 1.
Yeah,
easily.
There's 30 teams,
Giants
and
are
you've
a
already
dark
said
horse.
Space Mountain and Anaheim's out.
Yeah.
So that's 29 teams.
No, I would rank them Dodgers first because they have the data, the tech, the money, and they're in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
And the West Coast, if that matters. But I think those are the things that matter. And so Dodgers are clear number 1. I would say the Giants might be a dark horse because they do a lot of these things that he likes to see in terms of coaching, in terms of playing, you know.
Has he seen their roster?
Well, hey, they're winning, man.
But has he seen their roster?
Well, that's why I called him a dark horse. And I think otherwise maybe like Yankees and Astros, because I think he's going to be drawn to the teams that are sort of player development heavy.
If he goes to the Astros, that'll be a disaster. That would be, oh my God. Really? I was thinking Mets, Yankees.
I guess
get him to the National League. Get him out of here and take Trout with you.
You got to throw the Mets on there for sure. And actually, let me just replace the Yankees with the Mets, because if the Yankees are already at 333, are they really going to go into the 400s, for Ohtani. I don't know. Maybe. I don't.
How much are we up against it?
It's 5:30. We still have time. By the way, you don't think Seattle's a dark horse for Ohtani?
There it depends on money, I think. I mean, they just signed a $500 million guy, kind of.
Oh yeah, J-Rod.
Yeah,
That's a weird contract, though.
It is not a full $500 million.
Yeah, I mean, they're really like the first 130, 120
only if he's an
guaranteed.
MVP guy. Yeah.
Let's end on this. We're going to play the trade Shohei Ohtani game.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing it again. What team would be the best for baseball and the postseason, because it's a tournament? What would be the best for baseball? What would be the best idea? What team would you put him on? If you say the teams that are in the postseason right now.
What I don't know about this question is, like, for baseball, like Rob Manfred and the front office and like Baseball Central.
No, for us, our fans.
Yeah, because that would be the Yankees probably, because the biggest market.
Because I think the Orioles would be great. I think the Rays would be great.
I think Orioles and Rays would be really fun. And the reason that I agree with you on that is for the fans, you have a lot of young players, a lot of people you can fall in love with and stick with for a while. That'll be on the Orioles for a while. I don't know if they will be on the Rays for a long time, but I think it would be kind of cool to have they finally slew Goliath. Like, I think with Ohtani, the Rays would actually have a chance to win the World Series, not just get there.
How about the D-backs? The young D-backs, Corbin Carroll.
That would be disaster for Manfred and Central.
We're not talking
Arizona,
about Manfred. Manfred's fine. He's about to get voted in. His career is fine.
It's like $50 million a year.
Yeah. What if, like, I'm seeing, like, these playoff teams, what if you had, like, him
I like
show
Baltimore,
up?
man. I like Baltimore. I think Baltimore is just a fun story.
How about put him in Philly's lineup?
Yeah. And they
Harper, Schwarber.
Yeah, but the thing about Baltimore is they're all young kids coming together. That's kind of a fun story.
How about put him on Cincinnati? Ellie Dela Cruz and Shohei Ohtani on the same team? Come on.
It's just that one's just not.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I know.
I think they're like having fun.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, no. I don't see any advantage for Milwaukee.
I think Baltimore is the funnest. They have a really good group of players. It'd be really fun to showcase them.
And what I love about him now, because Steve Sparks, knuckleballer, broadcaster for the Astros, had on yesterday. I agree with him. When he first came up, especially now, it's tough to build your rotation around him. There's a lot of unknowns. He pitches once every 6 days. It's just tough. He's got to be in the right situation.
But now he's more fully formed.
But what we saw in the WBC is he's a damn gamer, and he's raring to go, and that fits so much into playoff baseball to where I know 7th game, last 6 to 3 outs. Here he comes. He's coming in. He's
100 miles an hour.
Right? He's already hit 2 bombs, and now he's coming in to close the game out.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. If he was an Oriole or a Ray, I mean, that would be exciting as hell.
Yeah. I don't know that he could ever pull a Madison Bumgarner and pitch like 45% of your team's innings, but I do think he would be a threat to come back and give you like a 2 innings of super closer.
Randy Johnson, game 6, and then closes out game 7 against the Yankees.
I don't think Shohei is going to do that. They're very much protecting that $500 million arm.
Anything to look out for that you're working on right now?
Yeah, a real fun thing on Monday that I think people will really like. It started with Chris Bassett in spring training. Chris Bassett, I was talking to him about all his different pitches. He's got like 7 different pitches and like what he's working on with Toronto, right? And he said, one thing that people don't know about in the game is that the mounds are completely different from place to place. And he's like, Oakland, Tampa, they're mountains. These are mountains of mounds. And so I have to actually change some of the pitch shapes and some of the stuff I'm doing to mitigate the fact that my mound is different now.
My favorite Chris Bassett pitch ever, because I always called him the praying mantis, right? He's all arms and all legs, right? And when he'd come at you and that big arm, and that slow
69
curveball would come out.
Yeah.
And hitters would be, they couldn't stay back, right? It was like 72 miles an hour.
I've had so many conversations with him about that curveball. I'm like, that's your best pitch by Stuff Plus. You should throw it more often. He's like, I don't know. People would sit on it. I'm like, people could sit on your 79-mile-an-hour curveball and sit on it again and sit on it again and miss it 3 times.
They haven't seen that since probably JV baseball.
Yeah.
They can't time it. It's like an ephus pitch.
No one's going to sit 79 either.
Yeah, who's going to sit there going,
blown up my 93?
Beer league softball. I'm waiting.
So that's a long-standing disagreement between me and Chris Bassett. A friendly one.
Hey, what's the rule on that? Because I know pitching in college, wherever you went, the mounds were way different, right?
Well,
but
in big leagues, these are supposed to be exactly the same.
They are, and they're not.
Yeah, they're supposed to be exactly the same.
So if we went to Baltimore, Minnesota,
should be exactly the
Arizona, Kansas City.
So my piece is about how much is this is mental. Because maybe you just feel like Oakland's a taller mound because you look around, you got all that foul ground, you got all this, you got the cold air, you know that you dominate there. So now you feel taller, and it's not actually taller. So
versus you're at Fenway and everybody's right on you.
Oh, and Fenway was labeled a flat mound,
and everybody's on you.
Yeah.
And you remember old Detroit.
And then James Paxton said, I always thought Fenway was flat, and then I came here, and by my third start, I didn't think it was flat anymore.
Well, how about old Detroit, where technically the
backstop does matter. The backstop, what you're talking about, is the backstop.
Think about Detroit. Not only was it you were right on you, but the extra deck came over the front deck, so you really feel like everybody's on you.
Yeah. So that I think there's a lot of it that's like sort of psychosomatic that has to do with a lot of other factors. But some of it's got to be real too. So there's a tidbit in there that people might be really surprised. I did find one mound that is different. Kind of.
I'm going to ask Clay Wood, do you measure out? Are we to the specific letter of the law?
I did talk to some people in different groundskeeping crews, and they said that supposedly MLB. They didn't say supposedly. I'm saying supposedly. They said MLB at the beginning of homestands checks things. Now, do they check the mound, or do they just check 90 feet, or what do they check? Do they check everything? Mounds also are pretty complicated. You're talking about a slope. Do they get a protractor out and get is it the right amount of degrees, or do they just that's the right height, or how detailed does that MLB check get?
See, I can see where the ours is because we take the field out all the time for the monster trucks and the motocross. We have to or concerts. We have to rebuild our mound, so I can see where but if a place that doesn't really tarps it all the time.
Yeah, I heard a fascinating thing from Robert Ford, the broadcaster. He was telling a story about how the rumor was back in the day that in L.A. when they lowered the mound from 18 to 15 or whatever, there was 3 to 5 inch lowering of the mound after
68
in 68. The rumor was that in L.A., everybody else rebuilt their mounds. In L.A., they just chopped off the top, which meant that the angle was for the old mound, and they just chopped off the top, so it still had this great angle.
So you still felt like you were coming.
Yeah. And so everyone loved L.A. because they
Sandy Koufax is
yeah. So and then people do talk about just feeling steeper. Some places feel steeper, and some places feel flatter. And these guys also can pick up a ball and be like,
it's a different ball.
And they were right.
Fact.
They were right. They said that, and baseball was like, no, it's the same ball. And then we studied it, and Meredith Will studied it, and Athletic had a piece, and 538 had a piece, and we showed it was different.
Well, you know why they could tell it was a cue ball and slippery, right? Because their sticky stuff wasn't working as well. Hey, wait a minute. When I put the spider tack on, this is usually stickier. Now they know it's on the ball.
But they could tell millimeters are different. I mean, this thing they work with every day.
It's their equipment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you think Tom Brady in cold weather deflated it a little bit so he could get better grip?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have guys like Joe Montana going, yeah, we kind of all did that. Yeah,
I mean, that sounds familiar.
Right? Kickers have a kicking ball. The ball that goes through the upright for kicks
is not the one they practice on.
Is not the one that the quarterback. They have different balls, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah. They want that one harder or softer?
Harder.
Harder.
You want
more bounce.
I think you want more pumped up. So,
yeah, you want it super hard.
But the whole thing about cold weather, and Rich Gannon talked about this, former Raider MVP. Rich Gannon talked about in cold weather, just it's for grip wise, because just like baseball, you're dealing with leather. It's tougher to grip when it's cold.
Yeah.
Look at all the stuff we learned on A's Cast Live today.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Hey, welcome back to the world.
Yeah.
We can now reach you.
Yeah, you can call me Cody.
At what point were you like, oh, Cody's calling me.
I made up the whole story. No, it was definitely broken.
Play the man that's close.
The Eno Sarah Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Coming up next, the Mark Kotze Show right here on A's Cast Live. This is Chris Townsend, and it is summertime. You want to look your best, and I can't tell you how excited I am. Commander Cody, we've got our new shipment from Link Soul, all the summer gear. So whether you're playing golf or you're going out for dinner, you're hanging out with your buddies, or you're going to the beach, go see our friends at linksoul.com. And right now they have an offer where you can get 20% off. Go to linksoul.com. Remember, in the big leagues, look good, play good.
Unbeatable mileage from Chevron with Techron unlocks all kinds of unbeatable trips. Like to family dinner the next town over, or to a family wedding the next town over, or even to a family reunion over the river and through the woods at Grandma's house. Any drive is worth it to see Grandma, especially when you can stop along the way for unbeatable cleaning power from Chevron with Techron. Your engine will be thanking you for making the trip. Download the Chevron app now and find unbeatable mileage near you.
Put on your favorite cowboy boots and get ready to see the best fireworks in the Bay Area on Saturday, July 22nd. Saddle up for a one-of-a-kind country experience during our 3rd fireworks show of the season, presented by UBO.
As the pitch to Langolier, swung out a fly ball to left field, hit well. Going back far, show at the wall, looks up, and it is gone!
After the A's take on the Houston Astros, enjoy a mix of the best country hits as you watch the show from the field. Tickets start at just $10 and are available at athletics.com/tickets.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Hey, Billy, this deck is great for getting everyone together. Thanks. We're really enjoying the outdoor space, especially on a day like today. What's the material? Humboldt Redwood from Ashby Lumber. They gave us a great deal, provided us with a quick quote, and we couldn't be happier. We even found a great contractor through their online contractor directory.
Don't miss a day outdoors. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord to see our stock of naturally strong, naturally beautiful Humboldt Redwood. Find out more at ashbylumber.com for all your building needs. Ashby Lumber.
Summertime is golf time in the Bay Area, and that means it's time to enjoy the beautiful vistas, 27 holes of championship golf, and all the amenities that Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Cinnabar Hills gives you a variety on the course and in their amazing grill. They're ready to give you an incredible experience for any family, business, or social gathering. Nestled in the quiet hills of San Jose, summertime fun awaits you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Learn more at cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
My friend Tom's family only uses wireless for home internet, so it can be mad slow when everyone's online. But we get fast, reliable internet from Xfinity, so I can game with basically no interruptions. Ooh, it just leveled up.
Now through September 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gig internet with unlimited data included on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and an auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular supplied internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's Cast Live continues from the Treehouse. Here's Chris Townsend.
One of the greatest hats I've ever seen. Not this, but look at this. World Series cheaters, right? How good is that? They had these out. Somebody made them, and of course, Major League Baseball stopped it. But if you bought it early enough, you got it. How great is that? Here is the Mark Kotze Show. Time now for the Mark Kotze Show right here on A's Cast and A's Cast Live, brought to you by Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep. Check out their locations in the Bay Area, or you go to nestbedding.com for all your bedding needs. You're talking about your bed, your pillows, your sheets. He sleeps on a Nest bedding bed. You're going to love it too. It is the Mark Kotze Show. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a little while. You had a vacation, I think. You were in Maui again, probably on the beach somewhere.
I wish. Can't we just do that? Can't we take multiple vacations during the season? Isn't that nice?
Yeah, those 4 days of the All-Star break. But outside of that, that's about the extent of the vacation.
So on the way up today, MLB Now is in New York for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, the MLB Network, their main show, MLB Now. And I saw our buddy Raleigh Fingers, Zay's Hall of Famer, being interviewed. And it just got me thinking about you, because they're talking about back in the day, Raleigh would come in and he'd pitch 2, 3, sometimes even 4 innings out of the pen. But for the most part, with Catfish and Vida and Blue Moon and Ken Holtzman, and they had innings. I was thinking about for you, you really have to plan every single game that almost half of the game has to be covered by relievers. For a modern day manager, what is that like?
Yeah, it can present its challenges. I think the biggest thing is that, you go into each night knowing which relievers you have available, knowing which relievers match up well. So with that information also comes that headache of going through these processes and spending that time to really understand the game plan. And like you said, back in the 80s and 90s, the starting pitchers would go 7 innings, 8 innings, and not think twice about a manager, not think twice about leaving them in there. And then you had the 3-inning relievers, the closers that went in and came in the 7th inning and finished the game 7, 8, 9. So the game's transcended a little bit, and we have to evolve. And I think as a manager, that's our job, is to do our best at utilizing these matchups and resources. And guys don't throw as much anymore.
Yeah, and something that I've learned through you and also through Bob Melvin is, especially when I'm taking phone calls after the game and people are like, why didn't Kotze throw this guy? Well, there's sheets here on the desk that are going to tell you which guys are available, which guys are not. You don't come out to the media before the game to alert the other team and tell them, hey, this guy's not available. So only you know, and Scott Emerson know, and the front office knows. Fans are not going to know. Some guys are just not available tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a workload sheet from the sports performance group and our training staff that dictates, kind of their stress level, their workload. A guy could throw 20 pitches in a high leverage, closing situation, and they're going to tack on a few more pitches to that count, which, it's fair because they're going to be more stressful than if they're pitching in a down game or in a game that in the 5th inning of a 9-2 game as opposed to the 9th inning of a 7-6 game when it's a save situation. So, it has changed a little bit. And I think, last night was a prime example. We had a reliever sick. We had a reliever not come to the field because he was throwing up. So we were short in the bullpen. But yes, we didn't want to announce that, right? Because Houston would have had an advantage. And so we managed the game the way we did last night. And, unfortunately we didn't win. But, we were able to get through that game with 2 pitchers, which is kind of old school. We got 6 from our starter and 3 from our reliever.
Yeah, I've liked what I've seen from Freddie Tarnock. You can see why the organization likes him. Big guy, big arm, and definitely a future, whether he's relieving or starting, he's going to be a big part. Speaking of the illness, when you're traveling together and buses and planes and clubhouses, you can have an illness run through, and you've kind of had that right now inside your clubhouse.
Yeah, I think it's picked off about 10, 12 guys so far, and hopefully that's the end of it. But, it's running this course through the clubhouse, and it seems to just be a 24-hour bug where guys come in and end up, either vomiting or some form of a 24-hour flu, and they feel better the next day. So, we'll see. Hopefully this doesn't last multiple weeks.
JP Sears, I think if there's one player that has progressed, because, we've talked about 97, we've talked about 98 when you came in with the Marlins, the ups, the downs, good streaks, bad streaks. If you have one player that has progressed throughout the season and keeps getting better, that would be JP Sears. Talk about what you've seen in his development.
Yeah, I think for JP, we got him last year from the Yankees. We threw him into different roles. He pitched out of the bullpen. I think he made a few starts, maybe, if I'm correct. And he was more of a fastball carry, kind of ride four-seam guy at the top of the zone. Threw his slider, and didn't necessarily have a ton of success, but we saw some things that we liked about JP. He went in the offseason, worked on his slider, shaping the slider. To where now everything is called a sweeper, I guess. It's the new pitch. But and the last part of that process was getting him really to dive in and build his changeup and have confidence in the changeup. And I think we've seen that since April. He's a different type of pitcher. He knows that location is just as important or more important than having ride or carry to the fastball. He's been able to locate his fastball down and away to right-handed hitters. He's been able to keep him off balance with the changeup and the mix. So he's definitely one of the bright spots in that locker room from the start of the season to where we are now.
You think about some of these young pitchers, and even though they may not be comfortable, there's certain pitches that, let's just face it, they're better with. And I think of, with Medina, his curveball, you look statistically, and the scouts love his curveball coming up. He hadn't thrown it as much, but when he throws it, it's devastating. I think about Hogan Harris. His breaking balls have been hit hard, but fastball changeup has been a better combination. But they may not always be comfortable. So how do you kind of work with them going, I understand what you're comfortable with, but the numbers will show you're better when you throw these pitches?
Yeah, we just have to keep, meeting with them. We have to keep showing them the data. We have to keep driving it home that, you've got to go out and establish this pitch, or you're not going to have success. And when they hear that, I mean, it's important for them to hear it first. And then secondly, if they're not making the adjustment, then the second message is have fun in AAA, which isn't a great message. But, we want to develop them. We want to get them better. We want to get them built up in their confidence of utilizing the data and going out and executing a game plan.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Have fun in AAA. That's good. The young guys have come up. We talked about the energy that they originally brought, but then all of a sudden, welcome to the big leagues, and they're now going to start. They know who you are. They're watching and seeing what you're good at, what you're not good at, and you start to see some struggles. So what has it been like so far when you look at Geloff and Soderstrom and their start here?
Well, I think both these guys, if you're an avid A's fan and you're excited about the future and these young players and watching their growth and development, I think there's two things that stand out. I should say one thing that stands out for each individual. And for Tyler, the league is exposing him on breaking balls, or exposing him on soft and aggressive hitting counts. So Tyler's going to have to make that adjustment. For Zach, I think you're seeing the league's trying to exploit the hole up top. Fastballs with carry at the top of the zone, and so he'll have to make that adjustment. And I think both of them, are aware of kind of what's going on. We make them aware. We show them what's happening, and now it's on them to really be able to make that adjustment.
When you go back to the start of your career, once again, 97, 98, when did you realize, they've kind of figured me out, and that you're now going to have to, they've made the adjustment to you. Now you got to make the adjustment to them.
Mine was initially my first 50 at-bats. I rolled over to second base probably 20 times and didn't understand how to hit a sinking fastball. Hadn't seen a good sinker throughout my college career. Everybody threw four-seamers. If it sank, it was a running fastball. It didn't have depth. And so I had to make an adjustment when I went back and figure out how to hit a sinker. And I did that and thus stayed in the big leagues in 98 and had success.
Yeah, because that's the adjustment. They're always going to be making it. Well, you played, 17 years? They're always going to be making adjustments against you.
Yeah, until the last year when I just couldn't hit a fastball because I was old and my bat speed was too slow. And so I was cheating to the fastball. The back wasn't. Getting beat by the breaking ball because you had to cheat to hit the fastball. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. But, yeah, the league is about adjustments. And, our young guys are dealing with that. When they get here, if they have immediate success and impact, I think you look at a guy like J.J. Bleday. JJ's made a slight mechanical adjustment with his hands. He seems to be more direct to the baseball. He's not getting beat by the fastball the last few days. So those are good signs.
Cody Thomas is very interesting to me. Obviously, we look at his age. He's 28, but he's a guy that is a terrific athlete. You don't go to Oklahoma and play quarterback if you're not a terrific athlete. He can run. He's big. He's got a strong arm. So in terms of baseball years, he's still really young.
Yeah.
Age-wise, he's not. What do you think about him as a player?
Well, I think Cody has a chance, a great opportunity here, to show us that he belongs. And, for Cody, I think getting this chance and taking advantage of it, even though it may be a limited opportunity, as you said, he's 28. He could make something. And we look at Brett Rooker and what he's done, and I think Cody could be on that parallel path with Rook in terms of, just showing up to the party a little late, but staying for a while. And he has the tools, like you said. He has the athleticism that you look for, the size of a big leaguer. And now it's just about taking advantage of the opportunity.
Jacob Wilson, let's end on this. The first-round pick, I was really impressed. Just kind of like the size, 6'3", interesting size. Obviously, you played against his dad. You know his dad. Just what did you think of the first-round pick?
I think it's exciting. He should be close. He's polished. He's a college player. He comes from a great pedigree, like you talked about. His dad was a great shortstop. I loved his actions on the field. The swing is different. The load's different. The attack's different, but he puts the bat on the baseball. So, we'll follow him, obviously, and hopefully, he gets off to a good start in his pro career and gets here sooner than later.
Were you able to sit down really and have a conversation with him? Because very similar. High pick, you were a high pick, both two great college players, kind of like we want to see us sooner than later here at the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, we sat in the office and David Forrest was in here with us. And the main message is like the difference between college baseball and professional baseball is the grind and the physicality and the workload that you're going to have to take on where you're playing games every day. And in college, you don't play games every day. You play 4 games out of 7 days. And so you get a break, you get a mental break, and there's no mental break here. You're going out and, I mean, the minor leagues have a day off, which I guess is nice now on every Monday. So they can go, get a blow. But, I think that's the biggest adjustment for him. And we're going to try to put some more size on him and make him a little more physical.
Great stuff. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds good.
That's the Mark Kotze Show, brought to you by Nest Betting. Go to nestbetting.com. Go to their locations in the Bay Area. For all your betting needs, your mattress, your pillows, your sheets, you go to nestbetting.com.
And that's the manager, Mark Kotze. That's going to do it for A's Cast Live. We want to thank Eno Saris, Jeff Blum, Zach Geloff. Great to finally meet Zach Geloff, and obviously Mark Kotze, the manager of the Oakland Athletics, for joining us on A's Cast Live. Tony and I will be back on Tuesday ahead of the Giants and A's Bay Bridge Series at Oracle Park. No, we will not be there. Don't look for us, but we will be on at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. Chris Townsend standing by for A's Total Access coming up next. Mark Kotze, Zach Geloff. Greatest playoff games with Vince Cotroneo, Game 1 of the World Series in 1989. So stay tuned as Chris Townsend standing by for A's Total Access. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Chris Townsend, and it is summertime. You want to look your best, and I can't tell you how excited I am. Commander Cody, we've got